Imagine, if you will, that you've been accused of a heinous crime that is so vile it not only has no justification, but it's utterly indispensable as well, and you're completely innocent of that crime. This event happened only too recently in America that we know. It happened to Jesse Miss Kelly, Jason Baldwin, and Damien Eccles when they were accused of murdering three boys and sacrificing those boys to Satan. The local populace declared them to be all three witches in the year of 1993. Witch hunts are a serious problem globally, according to the United Nations, and are from modern times, not in the past. They have estimated that the murders of those accused of witchcraft may reach well into the thousands. Also, many more of those accused of witchcraft that have been maimed, mutilated, beaten, banished, and forced out of their communities is somewhere in the millions around the world annually. This is every year in our present times. As ludicrous as it sounds, I myself suffered at the hands of a witch hunt in my year. It is important to note I lived only a couple of hours drive from Damien Eccles, Jesse Miss Kelly, and Jason Baldwin, and during the years that they were facing persecution, so was I. But it did teach me a lot about people during that time. I was accused of crimes no less than sacrificing my children to Satan and of devil worshiping. I've never had any children. But it did teach me that women were quite a bit at risk for these kind of crimes against humanity. I also found that it was quite heartbreaking to discover that people under the guise of righteousness will persecute their own for crimes they are not guilty of and exaggerate their behavior until that behavior is criminal. I want to share with you what I want to share with you what is shockingly something of our present and not of our past when it comes to witch hunts. And I believe that the evidence that I have gathered will show this. Why don't we first look at the problem and discuss the evidence? Hysteria and lack of education are the largest driving force behind witch hunts. It all comes down to fear. Many in African countries, for example, suffer under the HIV and AIDS epidemic, and they do not have access to proper medical care, proper medical information, proper contraception, etc. It's so bad there, according to the expert Foster, that as many as 61% of adults in Africa are suffering from an AIDS or HIV infection. He puts women and children most at risk for AIDS and HIV. The United Nations puts them most at risk for crimes related to witch hunts. The expert Williamson even said that as many as 51% of children in Africa were currently infected with AIDS or HIV or receiving antiviral treatment. Um, Often, the poor in Africa who are infected will seek medical treatment, but due to isolation or lack of proper medical care availability or money, will go to a local tribal doctor, male or female, and seek help. This brings a lot of ridicule from the Christian community that surrounds them, and often they're accused of being either conspiring with witches, being in league with witches, or witches themselves. It's important to note, however, at this point that witch hunts are not a problem just in Africa. They are a problem globally. This is not a third world problem or a first world problem. This is a world problem. And the United Nations has said that these witch hunts are increasing in our recent modern times, not decreasing. And that's something we need to be aware of. Even Jeff Crisp, who is a United Nations official, has come forward and said that we have problems with witch hunts. We have problems with this, and it should be something that is of note and of importance to us. Papua New Guinea even went as far as to legalize white magic and criminalize black magic. Now they have a problem as far as people just being criminalized for superstition or for someone's misfortune. There are so many crimes against humanity in Papua New Guinea for no reason other than they have allowed for superstition to become law. And this has opened the door to witch hunts. Um, Also, you have problems in Christian communities because, now it's fundamental for Christian communities, not Christianity at large, because they are taught by the religious leaders to be intolerant of things that appear to be satanic. That they've made everything from books to movies to music to other people's appearance to be satanic. They've even allowed for illnesses to be made to be satanic. They've even allowed for people to not be seeking proper medical care because they fear that they're under the influence of some demonic presence, or they're under, like, if they just pray enough, this is somehow going to free them from this demonic influence. And this is open the gateway to witch hunts because they are taught that if they're not doing this to themselves, then something in their life is doing that, and that may be another person. So this is something we really need to focus on. Also, now that we've established that this is global, that it is everywhere, that this is a problem throughout the world, let's focus on what's really causing it. It seems to me that witch hunts, based on the evidence, are brought on by natural disasters, viruses, tragedies, religious intolerance, just general lack of education, hysteria, fear, etc. These are the things that are guiding them. So this actually allows us to look at what would stop those things. What would help to stop the witch hunts in light of that evidence? Well, first off, religious education. When you properly educate your populace about the real threats to them, they begin to shed the superstitious threats to them and stop believing in demonic influences. The more educated you are, the less likely you are to accept a supernatural reason or a logical reason for an occurrence. Sex education is another one that we really need to begin to press globally. We've taught people to not have sex and to not use contraception, to just wait till they're married. Well, that's not, when you have sexually transmitted diseases that are killing a large amount of the world populace, that's just not feasible. And you're opening the doorway for all sorts of problems, as we're seeing in Africa. Then, if possible, we need to encourage each other regionally and to go out and speak to people and tell them to let go of things that bring on persecution or degradation of others for no other reason than this is something that their religious leaders told them to do. Another thing we need to do is to encourage ourselves to look for truth and share truth, not misinformation. In conclusion, I think that we've learned a lot of things today, including the serious problems that involve all of us globally when it comes to witch hunts. I think that if we recognize the problems and we approach the problems with a problem-solving solution attitude, then we will be able to eliminate these problems in the world, and this will reduce the likelihood of death or persecution through witch hunts.